We're just waiting for our Holden HQs to leave the dummy grid, but we'll just recap on race number 1 before our dinner break tonight. And it was Michael Howlett and Mick Woodbridge in car number 1 and 74 respectively. They put on a ding-dong battle for the whole 12 minutes plus 1 lap. And then Grant Ord had a fairly lonely run there in third. But Ryan Davis, Rory Sharp, Troy Kent had an up-and-down race. He was up the front to start off. He started out of P3, drifted back to 11, and then finished up in about P6. Bo Pangler in car number 14. He was having a good run with Phil Breen and Todd Faulknell. Stuart Kenny faded towards the back end of that race in car number 72. And he's one of the sponsors for the category in 2025. Brad Butler, he moved forward by 1 position in car number 76. Scotty Hames in car 62, making a return to Carco after a year off. And then we had Mark Alfonsi for Big Bopper Racing in car number 47. And Dave Kent rounded out our field in a really nice presented car in car number 45. So we'll wait and see what happens in this one, Zach, with the Howlett and Woodbridge show. But hopefully Ord and Davis and even Rory Sharp can take it up to Howlett and Woodbridge.
Yeah, let's hope so. Although that being said, there was nothing wrong with the 2-car showdown that we saw from those two earlier in the piece, Howlett and Woodbridge. Multiple lead changes, a lot of side-by-side running. I guess that's one of the different components of and elements of nighttime racing, Vaughan, as opposed to daytime and natural light. Perhaps some peripheral vision might be compromised in a way that it's not during the daylight, but everybody's in the same boat. So I'm sure that these guys will approach it in a degree of caution in that respect. They'll treat it on its merit with this being a nighttime race in a different environment, but a very, very cool novelty for some of these guys. It's been a while between drinks between nighttime races at Carco.
It certainly has, and 4 months behind, or without being behind the wheel of a car too. So some people will take to it like a duck to water, but some will need to dial themselves in. They've only had qualifying for 10 minutes and then that 12-minute race. So, they've only been behind the wheel for, say, 20-odd minutes after a 4-month break, but certainly didn't seem to affect Michael Howlett, the current state champion, and Mick Woodbridge in car number 74. That was a great battle for the entire 12 minutes plus 1 lap. This one, we're going to go and do a couple of extra laps. This one is a 15-minute adventure plus 1 lap. I'm just trying to work out who we're on board with. It is very dark there, as you can see on our live stream. We can see the dials on the race car, and it's Bo Pangler, car number 14, that has the race cam on board for this event. And he'll be starting mid-pack, right behind or alongside Troy Kent in car number 3. The car's just making their way down into turn number 7 at the moment. Not long to go. And their second last race of the night. 15 minutes plus 1 lap. The lap record for the Holden HQs dates right back to 2004, where they were running a different fuel, a different set of tyres, and I believe a different suspension package as well on these cars. So there's no way that they'll get near a 14.1. We're looking at high 15s would be a record for today's Holden HQs.
And of course, it'll be interesting to see how close we do get to that marker with all the different circumstances taken into consideration here. As she's ready with the XLs on the circuit, a lot cooler ambient and therefore track temperature at this point in time. Perfect conditions for racing and no rain in sight, which is a relief to all and sundry. Course cars coming into position. We'll have the green baton waved any tick of the clock, and even though we've lost nearly 3 minutes here, that's going to leave us with 12 minutes plus 1 lap of green flag running, should we avoid being interrupted by a safety car deployment here at carco.com.au Raceway. Race 2 of the evening program, the Night Masters, thanks to Carco.
Green baton being waved down at the of the field. Red lights on, revs raise, and we are racing, and it's a good start from Mick Woodbridge in car number 74. Although once Once Michael Howlett hits second gear, he's driven away from Michael Howlett, from Michael Woodbridge, and then Grant Ord and Ryan Davis as they turn the cars into turn one for the first time. It's Michael Howlett from Mick Woodbridge. It looks like Ryan Davis has got around the outside of car number 4 of Grant Ord. Then we have Rory Sharp, and behind Rory Sharp would be Troy Kent in car number 3 for West Australian security personnel as they head into turn 4 and up and across the top of the hill. Now the blind right-hander, which is even worse at night time because you can't see the fence, so you've got to be able to try and pinpoint where you are on the racetrack at every point as you go across the top of the hill. They're down into turn number 6. A good getaway at the moment, and Michael Howlett is making hay while the moon shines here at Carco Raceway. He's driving away now from Mick Woodbridge. And then we have Davis and Grant Ord. That's your top 4 as they come over the hill for the first time.
And Davis was having a look up on the outside, but I think he'll lose that battle on the run down to the final corner. He's certainly looking to hang tough out there, but he'll tuck back in and try maybe up and under down the main straight. No, we've got a wide exit. And they're side by side with 1 lap down and 10 1/4 minutes to go. It's smooth running so far for the number 1 Howlett. Clear of Woodbridge, and Davis slides into third. Good start from him. Up from 4th to 3rd after starting 5th in race 1, finishing 4th. He just continues to improve the day, and now night goes on, and he's within striking distance of Woodbridge as we go up over the hill for the second time.
Looks like Scotty Hames or Brad Butler just sliding up the inside of Todd Faulknell there in car number 24, the bright orange car towards the rear of the field. And we've got Big Bopper Racing, Mark Alfonsi in car number 47, and rounding out the field and falling off the tail of the field is car number 45. And we've had a spin that looks like it'll be Todd Faulknell, and that's what we were just talking about, that blind right-hander at the top of the course. And actually, he hasn't even made it that far. He's lost it in turn number 4. So back onto the circuit he comes in car number 24. And touch ball play on for Todd Faulknell. As we pick up on our leaders now, down into turn 7, it's still Michael Howlett with the green headlights ablaze on the Holden HQ from Mick Woodbridge, who was fastest across the top of the hill that time, a 58.26. And Woodbridge just going through again, fastest lap time for Mick Woodbridge. So Mick's HQ coming on strong, and Howlett is going to have to start going defensive very shortly.
And how early does he go defensive is the big question here. It'll depend on how quickly Woodbridge can reel in that 8-10 deficit that he had at the end of the previous lap. A 16.60, you were talking about potentially seeing times in the 15s. We're a fair way off that at the moment. Davis, Ord and Kent, 3, 4 and 5. So status quo at the front. Howlett leading. We're riding on board further back in the pack with the 14 of Pangler in 9th place outright at the moment as they head up over the rise out of turn 5 down towards turn 6 once more. What a spectacular on board that is. Doesn't matter that your vision might be a little bit compromised, ladies and gentlemen. All you're really clearly seeing there is a sea of headlights and his dash. It is just spectacular to be able to bring you these live and exclusive pictures on the platforms of Behind the Sport this Saturday night at carco.com.au Raceway. Pangler up over the rise. He's in the slipstream. Will he be able to have a move, have a look at a lunge down the inside going into turn 7? Not this time by. Howlett leads. Woodbridge again the fastest lap of the race. He's shaved 3/10 off the previous marker.
Yeah, that's Phil Breen that Bo Pangler was trying to mow down there, and Fiery Phil Breen, as we call him, car number 75. And Stuart Kenny still stuck him down in 7th place at the moment. A 16.3, the second of the fastest laps now to car number 74 of Mick Woodbridge as he tries to do something about the current state champion in Michael Howlett. Car number 1 already over the hill and bound towards Cold Corner. Ryan Davis doing a good job holding off car number 4 of Grant Ord. Then we go back to Troy Kent, Rory Sharp in 6, Kenny, as I said, in 7, Breen in 8, Pangler 9, and Brad Butler moving up into P10 at the moment. But our leaders, there's a 4-car group coming now two lots of two at the moment, but it won't take long for Davis and Grant Ord. If they work together, they can have a crack at Mick Woodbridge, who's starting to get very hungry on the boot lid of Michael Howlett in car number 1 as they come out of the braking area, turn out onto the Carco Raceway main straight. It's still Michael Howlett with 6 minutes and 30 remaining here. Race number 2 for the Holden HQs.
Minus start at the front, but still Woodbridge chipping away at Howlett's advantage. It's down to 4/10 of a second. A 16.7. A 16.17. I'll read it right the third time. That is the benchmark at the moment. They're getting ever closer to that 15 marker that Vaughan was talking about. A 16.3 last time round for Howlett. His advantage has been slimmed down to about 3 car lengths at the moment. And you can see that Woodbridge is skipping away from Ord, who's left to fend off Davis. And Kent has fallen off the tail of them back into 5th. And at the back of the field, I'm happy to report that we started with 14 and we've still got 14 running, which is good news for all, and in the hope of getting a full race where we don't even have the deployment of safety about the green flag running. Here we go, Woodbridge over the hill. He's as close as he's been all night to Howlett. Amazing shots as they come down the hill towards the big braking zone on the approach to turn 7. Woodbridge is there, but Howlett's going to lead them back up once more. How long can he continue to do that?
Not long. Mick Woodbridge is looking very racy out there now in second placing 74. Again, he drifts out into the middle of the racetrack looking to just fill Howlett's mirrors with some headlights there. There's only maybe 1.5 car lengths between these two. They're driving away. Now, Ryan Davis has got Grant Ord back in front of him. So Davis has lost it on that previous lap in car 9 for Kevrek. Then we go back to car number 3 of Troy Kent. And Troy will be trying to get on the back of Davis and Grant Ord and get that toe. And that'll help him get up and over the top of the hill. And also the same out of turn number 6. If you get a little bit of a help from one of the competitors there, you'll get a couple of extra 100 revs. Be able to use that down into turn number 7 in the hardest braking area on the circuit. As we pick up with Michael Howlett and Mick Woodbridge. Still first and second. Grant Ord holding on for third with the blue lights blazing underneath his car. And then Ryan Davis in car number 49 for Kevrek in 4th position. A 1:16.1 to Mick Woodbridge. I reckon this might be another flyer on this here too, Zach. As Howlett goes through with a 16.2, Woodbridge with a 16.6 and a 17.2 for Ord and a 17.4 for Davis. So Ord and Davis starting to fall off. Mick Woodbridge up and over the top of the hill in intermediate 1. It's a 32.5, so he's got 2/10 of a second quicker than Michael Howlett. We can see with our onboard, it is fairly dark down there in turn number 6. And Bo Pangler having a good run down there with Brad Butler trying to go around the outside in car number 76. It's, you can barely see the opposition on the left-hand side as Brad Butler moves across and tries to block the run from Bo Pangler in car number 14 as they head up and over the top of the hill and down into turn number 7 to reel off another lap here. 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. Mick Woodbridge goes faster again. And Zach, we are now into the 15s. A 1:15.96 for Mick Woodbridge.
And he needed it too because he was starting to lose track of Howlett. The gap's extended back out to 5/10 of a second. Vaughan, have a look at this battle in the meantime. Further down the magnificent racing between Ord, Davis and Kent. And Davis piggy in the middle at the moment. He'll be by Ord, you'd imagine. But
he's actually gone past him, Zach.
He has over the back of the circuit there, and they've got to be worried now about Kent as well. The number 3 was having a big one going into 6. There are the leaders. It's a big gap back. Davis now holding on, the 49 ahead of the 4 and the 3. And there's not much time left in this race, Vaughan, for the better part of 2 laps, I reckon. Maybe 3, depending upon time certainty, as they make their way down. Here's a move. This is the battle for 6th and 7th and 8th. Oh, it's nice and close on the run into turn 7 once more. So there's 3, 4, and 5 back across the strike. Anyone's guess who's going to win that battle with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, well, Grant Ord is now on the inside of the racetrack. They're going to hang Ryan Davis out to dry here. Ryan out on driver's left and has relinquished that position. And look at Troy Kent. He's trying to have a piece of Ryan Davis as well. Comes up right onto the driver's side mirror of car number 49 of Ryan Davis. They go side by side into turn number 4. Oh, Kent gets it all loose on the way into turn number 4, and that's cost him 2 car lengths. So Davis hangs on, trying to do something about car number 4 now of Grant Ord, and Troy Kent back to 5th.
Yeah, he was out in the marbles, wasn't he? Was Ord, and that was unfortunate because the move was on. If he could have hung tough around the outside at 4, he would have been on the inside for 5, but it's still on in earnest as they come out over the crest once more. 1, 2, and 3. The final spot on the podium is the prize on offer, folks, and it sets it up for race 3 a little bit later on. Meanwhile, back at the front, Howlett continues to hold off. Woodbridge has done for the balance of the race thus far. There's 13 seconds on the clock, so 2 laps to go this time by. We're going to sneak an extra 1 in and have a look. If they get too far out on those ripple strips there, Vaughan, being that it's night time now, our spectators at home and also trackside might be treated to a few sparks coming off those ripple strips from the HQ Holdens. I did see a couple fly earlier in the piece. This is a cracking scrap. Ord, Davis, Kent, anyone could reach out and grab 3rd, but they've got to have a look fall their way given how this has played out so far.
Certainly, and there's a great battle happening just in front of these 3 as well, but Grant Ord doing a fantastic job out there in 3rd position at the moment from 49 of Ryan Davis racing for Kevrek. And now you can see Troy Kent putting the pressure right on Ryan Davis, just about bump drafting him down into turn number 6. These 3 you can throw a blanket over. Here's our leaders, and it's 3 car lengths now for Michael Howlett over Mick Woodbridge, although Mick looked like he got a better run out of turn number 6. He's trying to close that down. As you said, we are down to minus 50, so this will be the last lap coming out now at the moment, and our leaders coming down onto the carco.com.au raceway main straight. Meanwhile, back this great battle for 3rd. We've got 1 car clearly in 3rd, and then 2 fighting it side by side. That'll be Davis, I believe, and Troy Kent. Yes, it is. So Davis in 4th position, and 5th is Troy Kent, looking for a run up the inside of Davis. Not going to work. Takes Davis out, and both of them end up in the sand patch down there in turn number 1. So a very adventurous move there from Troy Kent. There was no way he was going to stop that vehicle and turn right at the end of the main straight. So we wait now. Headlights are still on down there, but I can see 2 cars definitely bogged big time down there in turn number 1.
Oh, jeez. They did all the hard work.
How many times have we seen this tonight, Zach?
On the final lap. Far too many times. And also it's not just in the HQs either. And poor old Ryan Davis, he can't buy luck, can he? At the moment, caught up in another incident. Woodbridge, in the meantime, because of some lap traffic getting in the road, lost any chance, I think, of tracking Howlett down. He's right there, but he's not going to be close enough to make a lunge into the final corner. And number 1 is going to chalk up yet another W at carco.com.au raceway. And don't be surprised if the checkered flag is also met with 2 double waving yellows. There they are, right on cue. Howlett gets the job done from Woodbridge, sets up a tantalising deciding race later this evening. And the double yellows wave to advise of the incident at turn 1, which will take a few minutes.
Well, another great and very entertaining HQ race. And a very deserving winner there in Michael Howlett. Got to the front and stayed there for the entire 15 minutes plus 1 lap.